Hey folks, Jamie Lundell here. Today what we're going to do is talk a little bit about twist Damascus. It was the original form of pattern welding. Previously there had been certainly welding of different materials done to make a more durable blade, to help homogenize early steels, but twisting was the first form of actually trying to show off those layers and create decorative patterns in a blade. It's first intentional manipulation of layers to create a pattern. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about how to manipulate patterns in twist and go from there. So what we have here is a bar that I put together of, I believe it was 13 layers, and I've twisted. And the things to consider when making a twist pattern is the density of twist. So you can see it's a little tighter over here, and that was just a factor of having a little bit more heat on this part of the bar than I did down here. In a future video I'm going to get into how I do my twisting and ways that I try to keep things even. But so the density of twist is going to tell you how often your pattern is going to repeat, and that's the thing you need to keep in consideration is the size of bar that you're twisting and what the final thickness is going to be. So if you're twisting a bar at 1/2 inch and you figure your final forging is going to be at 1/4 inch, you're going to get, you're going to get double the length out of each twist. So frequency is the thing to think about. And then also a thing to think about here is you can see I've cut into this bar in 5% increments. And so the depth at which you look at a twist will change the look of it. So here you can see things are just very diagonal, not terribly exciting. But as we start cutting through, so we're at 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. So 20% you start getting these kind of separations at your ends. 25, 30% things start to get a little bit more interesting. These start to get pretty wavy. And that keeps on developing until you get to 50%, where you get this very striking X's and O's kind of pattern is how it's often referred to. And so if you're looking to achieve a pattern more like this, you have a lot of material to remove, or you're splitting a bar down the center and flipping it inside out, and then not removing much material at all will help you get that kind of pattern. So there's all sorts of different ways to approach it. And as I said, this bar was made up of it's about 13 layers, and everything was the same thickness of layer. So it's a thing to consider how deeply you want to cut through and what kind of pattern you want to make. Now this bar, it was 10 layers on either side and then a thick core bar, as you can see coming through here. This is a 50% cut, and this is a 25% cut. And you can see how much pattern changes in between those two 25 and 50%. And you can see when you put bars on the outside how those turn into these the O's in the X's and O's part of the pattern. This was a basically 30% dark material on the inside. It was 1095, and I think it's a little too much. I think that's a little too bold. So you can go back and you can, there's all sorts of different ways to manipulate this. This is just a quick intro video about twisting. I plan on doing kind of a series of these talking about how I go about doing my twists and variations of twist patterns. So if you guys have any questions about twisting, want to see what crushed W's look like in there, or manipulating patterns in different ways of doing different layer counts, different designs in there, drop it in the comments and I'll be sure to make more videos about it. I hope this helped.